Welcome to RotoWire, Fantasy Football Live, coming at you 5 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern. But if you miss it, you can always catch a replay anytime. So we're always here for you. We're not here Wednesday and Thursday, though. Man's got to take a day off here and again, get charged up for a week of research, grinding, and doing our best we can. Charlene's in the house. Good morning to you. Glad you're here as always. So, takeaways. I like to start with the games first. But I want to point out about C.J. Stroud. What a game. 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2-point conversion. Just wow. Now, we had 2 straight games from him, less than 200 yards passing. And football is the ultimate small sample size sport. We have 17 games in a season. We have to react and analyze every game, and we have to make Uncle Ted welcome. And so we have to have takeaways from every game, and we have to try to project the players going forward. Sometimes it's sticky, and sometimes it's not at all, but that's the nature of it. It's the fun of it too. But so CJ Stroud, those 2 games were not very good. He played okay. Defense has made adjustments. And so they play Tampa. And okay, well, Tampa is a stars and scrubs defense too. Basically, they're 2 corners. Well, Jamel Dean goes out pretty early with an injury in this game. And now they have Carlton Davis left. And they have really no other corner help. And they were already getting beaten in the middle of the field. Now the outside of the field was a problem as well. But that's not C.J. Stroud's fault. He took advantage of it. He ate the defense alive. Basically, it was whenever, wherever, however, got the ball. The only player that didn't go off yardage-wise was Nico Collins. Nico Collins got on the top of my head, 40-ish yards. He did get an early touchdown, so there was that. But Tank Dell goes off. Dalton Schultz goes off. Noah Brown goes off. Not Noah Brown. Is that? No. I'm probably going to screw that one up. I didn't put the notes in front of me on that game. But, the third receiver goes off. And he's in place of Robert Woods. And so there's that. What a beautiful game. But that's the point I want to make. As much as we try to do our best and flip probability in our favor, it's tough because things change on a dime. C.J. Stroud, I will say this. What we saw early in the season, what we saw yesterday, we might see some valleys. This dude's the real deal. He is going to be an outstanding NFL quarterback. I mean, there's sometimes second year a player regresses. He's calm under pressure. He knows how to go through reads. Very good fit with his offense. Now that could change over time if Slowick gets a head coach up. I don't think that's anywhere on the near horizon. But Stroud, that's just the takeaway. What a phenomenal rookie. And I know that last week he lost the big game to Bryce Young, and Bryce Young was all on top of the world. Well, Bryce Young threw 2 pick sixes yesterday. Not close between those two. Right now, things can change. Uncle Ted, you'd rather have Najee Harris and Bijan from here on out. Oh, man. There were 2 problems that hit Bijan. First problem, across the entire league, defensive initiatives learned how to defend the run better despite using light fronts. They learned how to shoot gaps. They learned how to move after the snap, not showing the offense as much, giving them as much data to work with. And the problem that it led, we also had a little regression from the Falcons' offensive line in terms of blocking. They were blocking at an incredibly elite level, not just the linemen, but the extra tight ends, Keith Smith, the fullback in there on occasion. That level of blocking is not there. And with the defenses having improved, they're predictable. Defenses are going to worry about the run game of the Falcons. They don't care about either Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke. They don't care. Beat us, throw deep. You're going to throw 3 picks. Who cares? Launch away. You'll make some, you'll lose most. So, yeah, that's the problem. It's a rough go. Bijan's uber talented, but it's one of those wrong place at the wrong time kind of things. All right, let's see what else we got here. Charlene, call you Tank. All right, I have to call you Tank. You had Tank Dell and Tank Bigsby, and you dropped Akers. Yeah, probably good. Akers hurt his ankle yesterday. Not so good. Sauger, welcome in the house. All right, big takeaways. Chiefs, Dolphins. That was the big one. Well, there were 3 big ones yesterday. There were 4 big ones yesterday. Big games. So the Chiefs scored 2 offensive touchdowns and a defensive touchdown, and they beat the Dolphins 21-14. They didn't score in the second half. Interesting, right? The leading receiver in this game, Noah Gray, 34 yards. Rashee Rice, oh my gosh, first drive looked great. After the touchdown, the Watson got overturned on replay. Rashee Rice gets a touchdown, and there we have it. So he has a touchdown. We go, oh, he's on his way. He's on his way. That was it. 2 for 17. He had another catch, 6-yard catch after that. The whole offense. And the Dolphins did a really nice job ganging up on Travis Kelce. So this is the deal with Kelce. He's either 33 or 34. He said it. He has come out flat out and said it. He doesn't have the athleticism he had. You don't. You're 34. You don't have it. Kelce is an amazing player. He has that chemistry with Mahomes. They understand the choice routes. They're on the same page. But at this point now, defenses do not have any respect for their receiver room. And we've seen a couple games in a row now, the Denver game and this game, defense basically saying, all right, we're going to have a better plan for Travis Kelce. And you know what? Let's see what else happens. And what we saw, it was the Chiefs won, and they were able to play conservatively in the second half. Beautiful schemed pass to Jerick McKinnon for a touchdown in addition to the Rice one. But Mahomes, 30 attempts, not a lot, 185 yards, a couple touchdowns. Fantasy, okay. He had 2 touchdowns, ran for 24 yards. Certainly not what you were investing the 1 pick in. What I will say for the Chiefs, here's my takeaway. They have a bye coming up. Andy Reid, say what you will, he is the adjustment king. He's going to have 13 days and, till the next game, but the game plan will go in Tuesday, Wednesday, that's the following week. But Andy Reid's going to try to figure some things out. I do think he bumped Rashee Rice's snap percentage way up in this game, the most we've seen from him. It was well over 60. So I think he's going to make Rice a focal point of the offense. I think that's going to happen. If he thinks, and he may not get anything out of Kadarius Toney, but if he thinks he has any tricks in the bag, he has to deploy him if he's healthy. He's been healthy all year. So if he's going to do something, he has to try it now. And I don't know if there is something, but Andy Reid, if he could figure that out himself, usually the beat writers from Kansas City believed that Jerick McKinnon would be utilized in the second half of the season. Andy Reid understands his durability and his age, didn't want to overuse him early, and that's happened. It's very possible we see the second half Jerick McKinnon. We might see that player that we saw last year for a good chunk of the season. So I would say, look, it's a stash. If McKinnon's on your waiver wire in your PPR league, pick him up. See what happens coming out of the bye. It's very possible that he ends up playing extremely well for you. And another player to stash. I don't know what his injury status is, but I know early in the season, Richie James was placed on the IR. If he's eligible, if he's going to come back, and I don't know that he is, but look, we saw Sky Moore, his snaps went way down, and it needed to happen, right? So, but Richie James is a player, and he would be a very fast fit in this offense. Great hands, and they need that right now. And he's shifty. I could see if they activate Richie James. So if you got like a stash spot, or if you put him in an IR spot, I would take a speculative jump on Richie James, because obviously Sky Moore is not, and he had the downfield open pass. I get it. That nice, worked out, beautiful. But his snaps were not, they're down on him. He's not doing what they wanted. That's not what they wanted. They wanted for the inside interior. All right, Dolphins. I always say it, man. We love Tua Tagovailoa, but we've seen it when they play defenses that have 2 things. They have enough talent, and they have a coach that's willing to be game plan specific. Steve Spagnuolo did that. The whole thing that I've learned in 2 years of Tua is this. If you disrupt the timing of the passing game, Tua's in trouble. Tua needs to be on script. It's all timing and rhythm based. It's got to be drop and pop. That's exactly what it's got to be. And it's got to be in route, in rhythm, I should say. And what the teams going back to the Chargers last year, the 49ers last year, the Bills this year, now the Chiefs, what they all had in common was they're going to bring as quick pressure as possible, and they're going to jam the receivers up. They may not be able to jam them for long, but if you throw off Tua's timing on the play, the other thing is when you release the player, if it's not a deep route, if you let the offensive receiver get behind you on a short and intermediate route, what Tua has not proven to be able to do, he can't feather the pass consistently to the short and intermediate area over the top of the defender. It's horrible when he makes those throws. They're nowhere close. Now, on deep routes, of course, Tyreek Hill gets so much separation. But again, once the timing is thrown up and the quick pressure gets there, that is the key. But not a lot of teams can do that. Now, Miami hopes to get Devon Achane back, hopefully after next week's bye. That at least gives them dynamic speed in the running game. And if defense are selling out pressure too much, they could get him to the perimeter quickly, and it could diffuse somewhat the offense might do. Now, Hill, 8 for 62, you'll take it, right? Jalen Waddle was in and out of the game, 3 for 42 on 6 targets, but that's the whole point with the Dolphins. See, we got a couple comments here. Let's see, we got Panther Uncle says that Panthers whipped for not taking Stroud. Yeah, they definitely did. And the Bears whipped by not taking Mahomes. That's the first thing that came to my mind. We got Mitchell Trubisky. Charlene, I recalled you tank Sauger. Good morning. We said Sauger. Saints and the Dolphins are great against weaker teams and not. So you heard the point I made. It's defenses that have a defensive coordinator that is creative enough to attack what can be the inefficiencies. And you also got to have some physical play up. At the cornerbacks have to be somewhat physical. And the teams that have that, they're willing to be physical. You got to press those receivers a bit. And but that's it. It's specific to the types of teams. But that's the problem. Who are the Dolphins going to see if they make the playoffs? They're going to see a number of these teams. Like the Jets, that probably is a real problem for them. Charlene, Sony, Michelle, or Rojo. Yeah, that's your yeah, for sure. And then Uncle Ted Ferguson. I'm a degenerate. I'm drafting as soon as the NFL draft's over. Some people draft way earlier than that. But I was getting Jake Ferguson in the 17th round in every draft I was in. Every draft, I grabbed Jake Ferguson. I was preaching to people saying, you got to get Ferguson, You're nuts. They drafted Schoonmaker, whatever. And the dude can play. The dude's explosive, and he has Dak Prescott. Charlene, Dobbs, yeah, Joshua Dobbs. Look, the dude, astrophysicist, right? The intelligence means something. You can't just walk into a team's room, not know the plays, the terminology, the nuances of how the receivers run their routes, how they like the ball thrown to them, all these different things. The dude comes in, and he's got O'Connell in his headset until 15 seconds before the snap goes off. The dude's insane. He pulls out a win. He runs for 66 yards and a touchdown, throws for a couple more. And here we go. Joshua Dobbs. He's not a superstar. He doesn't have to be. He's a great story. He's a fun quarterback. Long-term starter. He has some deficiencies. A lot of half-field reads. As smart as he is, the speed of the game is a little fast, but he's got a lot in Minnesota. He's in a good spot. This is one of the better offensive lines in the league. Run blocking, pass blocking, they got it covered. They'll get Justin Jefferson back. So Joshua Dobbs, 2 quarterback league for sure. You're starting him. I don't think you have the confidence to say he's in the top 12, but he's a top 15 to 18 guy with Minnesota, as long as Jefferson comes back. But yes, and he runs. That running is, we always say it, it's huge. He's not running for 100 yards, but nobody does. He's running 40 yards, 60 yards. He has a lot of those games this year. Jordan Love won't push the ball downfield because he can't. They already, the coach, it's all been figured out. The league knows he can't throw it downfield. Matt LaFleur knows he can't throw it downfield. He has no accuracy. He cannot make downfield passes. So now they got to craft an offense that's 15 yards and shorter, but that means the defense walks up to play it. He's in trouble. He's in real trouble. If you can't threaten the defense deep, you're in a whole world of hurt. And then we had a trade there, Diggs for Chase and Kenneth Walker. Getting 2 players for 1, and Chase and Diggs are pretty equal. So, a big win there. All right, Cole Kmet. Yep. All right, here we go. Let's get back to things here. Let's get to the next game. Bengals and Bills. We should have Anthony Cervino coming in soon. Looking forward to him. I'm coming in every Monday, breaking down some games with me. So, the Bengals. Oh, my gosh. Joe Burrow again. What an elite quarterback he is. They don't get better than Joe Burrow. I mean, realistically, he navigates the pocket. He knows when to run, get a few yards. He knows how to look through the progressions and the reads to get where he needs to go. Pre-snap, very sound at diagnosing. And when defenses move late, very good at adjusting. The running game is not efficient, but Joe Mixon is fine for fantasy. 14 for 37. Like I said, he's a compiler. But that's fine. It doesn't matter. Being a compiler for fantasy, you take it. PPR points, 68 yards, 5 catches and a touchdown, 17, 18 points. Can't argue it at all there. Jamar Chase, 4 for 41. Buffalo did it. See, that's the thing. When you got Chase and Higgins, if you go too far out to try to slow Chase, Higgins is an excellent receiver. 8 for 110 later, and there he goes. And he got tackled a couple times on plays he might have been able to get into the end zone. But that's what they present. And then they get all these contributions from tight ends. Irv Smith, Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample. That was weird. But see, that was the thing. And Tyler Boyd, came up with a 56 yards and 3 catches. But the thing is, at some point, you have these 2 outside receivers. If you're putting so much attention on them, and this happened last year when Hayden Hurst was there, the middle of the field is open. There's free yards to be had there. And so Joe Burrow, when they oversold the Bills did on the outsides, okay, I'm going to pepper my tight ends. And use all 3 of them. And all 3 of them were fine. They all did well. You can't count it week to week, but depends what the defense gives you. At some point, you got to sell out for something. The Bills right now, they don't have a lot of answers. Tre'Davious White's gone, like we said. Matt Milano's gone. Daquan Jones, defensive tackle's gone. They're hurting. They are really hurting. So that said, the Bengals, though, keep trolling along. Now, the game to watch was whenever they play the Ravens. I haven't looked ahead to the schedule yet, but when they play the Ravens, that's what I want to see because the Ravens have given them trouble. Now, early in the season, we don't even count that game because Burrow couldn't move. But I'm excited to see how it goes down when they face this Ravens defense. And we'll talk about them later in the show. Charlene. Yeah, so the Brandon Cooks, it's see, that's the randomness of the NFL, right? What it ended up happening was, my opinion, they knew they had to score a ton of points. And CeeDee Lamb was just automatic. And Jake Ferguson, automatic. So at that point, who else do you need? They didn't throw many passes to Gallup, and they didn't throw many to Cooks. Now, weirdly enough, they throw some, and oh man, why does the name evade me here? They to the number 4 receiver, Jalen Tolbert, 3 for 49 touchdown. Inexplicable there, but Cooks was looking really good, but only 2 targets. It was one of those games, and that's the randomness of the NFL. There's weeks where the superstar doesn't get it, but the ancillary guys, there's never a rhyme or reason. But some weeks they just disappear on us. And Uncle Ted, yeah, we'll talk about Keaton Mitchell when we get to the Ravens part of the show. Oh, why don't I have that in the notes? I definitely got to talk about that. Oh, that's right. I don't need notes for it. Anyway, Bills side of the ball. Bills are in trouble. We talked about this in the last couple of weeks. What's this, 3 straight losses for them? Not so good. The defense, I just said it when I was talking about the Bengals. That defense right now, they don't have, they're missing some star power. Their depth has to step up, and it's not enough to hang with the elite offenses. When they played Miami and shut them down, they still had their personnel. This defense right now, they can't stop the big boys on offense. And it's not going to get fixed. They will not be able to stop the big boys consistently on offense. So right now, I don't think the Bills have a realistic shot of getting to the Super Bowl. They should make the playoffs. But with that defense right now, and the problem on offense is, again, we see it. Josh Allen is an outstanding quarterback, but he's not at that level he was a couple of years ago where he was completely unstoppable. So there's that. So, but again, Allen is great, but he's not that level of supernova that completely neutralizes any defenses out there. Right now, it's not to that level. Diggs gets his done, 6 for 86 and a touchdown, but Gabe Davis doesn't catch his 2 targets. Shakir, again, we said hopefully they would keep the snap share, but he did. 4 for 57. Kincaid, a lot of short stuff. That's what Cincinnati gave him. The announcers did a nice job on that one, pointing out that they were giving him that, and they were trying to take Diggs, away. And then when they finally moved in to stop underneath, Diggs got downfield for a touchdown. Very nice job of adjustment by Josh Allen and the offensive coordinator. But Dalton Kincaid, 3 games in a row, big fantasy performances. PPR right now, very hard to put him outside the top 7 or 8. or so tight ends, because that floor and Josh Allen, that's very tangible. We can definitely look to that. We did talk about the Ravens for a minute. And by the way, if you're on the channel and you're on RotoWire YouTube, if you can hit the like and subscribe button, we definitely appreciate that. If you can give me a follow on the X at Jim Coventry NFL, we'll have threads up throughout the week. Later in the show, again, we're expecting Anthony Cervino to come in. Let's see if I got a text from him or anything while we're talking here, and hopefully he's coming on. Yeah, nothing from him, so we'll see. All right, that's fine enough. Anyway, the Ravens right now, and it's funny because as I think about the Ravens, I have to say right now, I was going to frame this, are they Super Bowl contenders? Well, hell yeah, they're Super Bowl contenders. My question should be, are they the Super Bowl favorite in the AFC? We got the Chiefs. The Chiefs, all right, so I'm going back and forth, and I'm going to sidebar for a minute. For Joanna, yep, Joanna. I think Keaton Mitchell did take Hill's job. We'll talk about that too. So the Ravens right now, let's backtrack to the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense, I go back and forth. It's like, are they really elite? I think more than not. They're not like lights out. They're going to shut down the best offense in the world. But I do think Spagnuolo, when has 1 week to game plan for a specific team that's a high-powered offense, they could bring pressure. Their corners are physical, and there are teams that can get them. But I think overall, I'm going to making the decision. The Chiefs are a very good defense that's going to be a factor. And this is the one version of the Chiefs team. They can now win playoff games 21-17. That version of the team didn't exist before. On a lot of these games against the better teams, they had to score 30 just to get there, right? Now the Ravens. Why are the Ravens possibly right there with the Chiefs, if not ahead? Mike Macdonald, the defensive coordinator. When I handicapped the Seahawks game, Mike Macdonald, the best thing he does for that defense, he gives a lot of looks to the offense, a lot of changed up looks, 3 safety looks, disguised coverages, simulated pressures, where, post snap movement. He doesn't give the offense much data before the snap. And he has personnel. The puzzle pieces they have are exceptional. And with those puzzle pieces, they just could do so many varied things. And I don't know that there are many offenses that are going to be able to abuse them. And the two NFC, as the Uncle Ted pointed out, the NFC teams, the Lions walk in there, the Seahawks, these are good football teams. These are teams that are like on that cusp of, moving to the top of the NFC. They're in that discussion, right? But no, Mike Macdonald and that defense just dismantled them. The Lions put up numbers when the game was out of hand. Nobody cares about it. Fantasy players care about it. But in terms of the game, those were destruction. I mean, absolute destruction offensively. So that's where the question comes in. Lamar is playing great football. The numbers don't show it. When you look at the box scores, you're other than that one game a couple weeks ago where he went off, you're like, meh, another 1 touchdown game or no touchdown game. The yardage isn't great. You look at all that, right? But Lamar's making big time throws when he needs to. His receiving room is not what we hoped it would be. Zay Flowers is a very good player. The screen king, I call him. Occasionally they move him downfield, but a lot of defense could take that away. Odell Beckham, garbage time. His touchdown didn't even come from Lamar. It came in garbage time, but the backup was in Huntley, I believe. So it was good to see signs of life from Odell. Rashad Bateman, obviously, I don't know what happened to him. And Mark Andrews is still Mark Andrews, of course, so he got that. So that's what kind of hurts Lamar. We were hoping that he would have this fully functional passing game where we got enough out of Odell. Bateman was what he looked like before the injury last year, and that would have given him versatility, making it really tough on defense. Lamar runs when he has to help preserve the offense. Now we get to the running game. We always know the Ravens are able to craft up a great running game through offensive line, getting Patrick Ricard in there, and the mobility of Lamar Jackson. I always talk about how the mobile quarterback, it definitely compromises the linebackers. There's always that fear that he's going to take off at that elite speed, and you always have to play on your heels instead of on your toes. And it gives the running backs a little bit of an advantage. Now, we had a couple comments. Uncle Ted said, wow. And Joanne talked about Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill. So we know that we've seen John Harbaugh always trying to push Gus Edwards to the bottom of the stack, right? And the problem with that is this. They need explosive speed. Gus Edwards is a sustainer, is an excellent running back. His career like 5 yards per carry. But he's not a cheat code. He's very, very good. He'd be great as a 1-2 punch. And I think the coaching staff, they gave Justice Hill like 63% of the snaps yesterday. Gus Edwards only had 5 carries. I don't know if he got dinged up in that game. I still haven't heard anything about that. Or if they just got the lead and said, we'll give you a rest early. Maybe that was it. But Keaton Mitchell, a lot of his numbers came in garbage time. So I get it. But not all of them did. And Keaton Mitchell has real speed. Justice Hill to me, and I just stunned he was on the field as much as he was. But again, if they were worried about preserving Gus, they probably felt they needed to do it. It can't take much to say, well, guess what? Lamar's speed, our offensive line, and Keaton Mitchell's speed. That gives defenses more to worry about. Defenses do not lose one wink of sleep over Justice Hill. They probably like, oh, good, he's in the game. They're probably excited when Justice Hill's on the field. No offense to Justice Hill, NFL player, billion times better than I am, but no defense is losing sleep over Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell, yeah, you got to think about that. It was one game, but we know the speed is real. And I do think he has a very real opportunity, like Joanna said, to step in and take that role. I definitely think so. And so right now, if Keaton Mitchell hits, and if you have a 1-2 punch of Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell, and Mitchell, like I said, if he's able to be sustaining speed and, to make it translate week over week, now this offense becomes scary. And that probably would be enough for me to say, they got a really good chance to beat the Chiefs if they play head-to-head here. But as of right now, without that speed, I think the Chiefs' defense, I think they could neutralize the Ravens' offense. But if you add that element of speed and it clicks, again, it's going to take a few weeks to figure this out. That's going to be the point we're going to have to see. Charlene, Hubbard did okay. Yeah, so a couple things in that game. Hubbard got the volume, did enough, but once the game got out of hand in the second half. Bryce Young kept throwing the ball to Kenny Moore, the cornerback, who kept running it into the end zone for the Colts, getting them 6 points whenever he felt like it, twice. So Hubbard has a fine game. Miles Sanders came in that second half. I don't remember the numbers of his touches. 6 to 9 carries, maybe 6 targets. He looked like a different man. I don't know if the benching last week was a motivational tactic by the organization. If that was the point, Miles Sanders passed yesterday. Miles Sanders looked like the back we expected all year in limited sample. Now, a lot of people immediately dropped him. Remember, if you listen to my show last week, I pointed this out to you. I said, don't dump Miles Sanders for one more week if you can hold off. Hold off 1 week. When these 1 week benchings happen, it may be sicky. But they got a big investment in Miles Sanders. And right now, based on yesterday, I have to think there's definitely a chance he works his way back toward that role. So if he's on your waiver wire, I can't guarantee he's going to be the guy the rest of the way or even be it next week. But what we saw yesterday, if he's bringing that, he has to be the guy at some point. And for what they paid him, they need to work that investment. Chad, concerned that everyone finally buying into Thielen last week, jinxed it. Think about it. Jamar Chase had a down game, right? All the studs have down games. I'm not saying Thielen's a stud at this point. And I was telling somebody on a show, I said, what Thielen had done over that 4 weeks was unsustainable. Those numbers were completely unsustainable. He hadn't had a run like that since 2018. And so that said, I think what that offense does, Albert's in the house, welcome. So I think when we're looking at it, Thielen's still going to see a lot of targets in the middle of the field. It was a very weird game yesterday. Jonathan Taylor got nothing going on the Indy side. It was a very weird game. And it was a great matchup, but it was a weird matchup. And I'm just going to say it's one of those games. I still think Thielen in that role is going to see volume. Look, he's lost speed. He can't run anymore. But yet he's open in the middle of the field. And he has a chemistry with his quarterback. And he's going to get the targets. And defenses are not selling out to stop Adam Thielen. Again, teams will give you, oh, fine. You want to throw over the middle of him? Fine, whatever. Now, he's made some bigger yardage out of that. But a lot of that could be bad tackling, good favorable matchups. I think Thielen settles in the second half, probably averaging, 50-ish yards a game. Not that 100 yards a game he was getting. Very few players do that. Against ultimate small sample size sport, right? And then Charlene asked if Jefferson and Montgomery are coming back. I would expect Montgomery to be back after the bye. I would fully expect him to be back. It sounded like it was rib cartilage. Painful. But I think they were using an abundance of caution to get him fully back. I would be stunned if he wasn't back in his full role after this week's bye, or the current bye, just had. And Jefferson, we don't know. Maybe the fact that Josh Dobbs did well makes a little more optimistic. Jefferson maybe didn't want to come back when Cousins went out, right? But I think he might be more inclined to say, they're going to image him. They're going to do an imaging test. And when they put him on IR immediately, it was a significant hamstring injury. So there's that, right? So outside of that, you just got to figure, all right, it could be longer. So really, I don't have a word on Jefferson. The MRI is going to tell all. That is really going to tell all. But if there's any chance Jefferson can get back, I think he'll be highly motivated to come back because there is some excitement in the house with Joshua Dobbs there. I mean, it's certainly not Cousins, but that's it. All right, let me see if I can get to some. Charlene, I think DPJ is a stash. I don't think so. So what's going to happen is he's going to be used to block a lot, right? That's what he did in Cleveland. He played 88% of the snaps a lot of weeks, saw 0 to 4 targets, usually closer to 2, but he blocked his tail off, and they love that. Well, him and Jamison Williams are going to share a side of the field. And I think when they're in an obvious passing situation, it'll be Jamison Williams. I think they're winning early downs. It's going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones. On the other side, it's still Josh Reynolds, still his ball game. He's still their outside receiver. Now, for the Lions, when teams play zone against them, you're going to see more of the inside players work. When they play man, you're going to see more Josh Reynolds games. And that's we'll have to break that down when we get to those. And then Sauger, we did talk about Stroud at the beginning. Yeah, he's back in the circle of trust. He's not going out anymore. Sauger, yep, and Dobbs, absolutely. All right. And Uncle Ted says the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl. They certainly have that ability. Now, we'll talk about that game. It looks like Anthony might not make it today. That's sad. Love Anthony. Love when he's here. But, all right, we'll move on. Let's talk Eagles Cowboys. Good time to talk about it. So, the Eagles, great win. Great win. Now, they lose Dallas Goedert. Broke his forearm. Every year, it's unfortunately something with that dude. It's sad. I don't know how long it'll be. Could be IR. I don't know how severe the broken forearm is. I don't know if it's one of those things where you put a plate in 2 weeks in your back. Anthony M. Who doesn't love Anthony? Yes. Name recognition. So, yeah, Uncle Ted, I was thinking the same thing. Julio Jones could see a little more work here. Goddard can block, too. And so that's going to be a dynamic. That's going to be interesting. But they really have it's a big fallout to Jack Stoll or Grant Calcaterra, Albert O. So they may need to do more with their 3 receiver sets here than usual. They may have a big bump in that. So that may be something we have to look for. But anyway, the Eagles, big win. Again, DeAndre Swift, meh on the ground. Gets enough, 18 for 43. He had that 175-yard game back right when he started. But if you notice, not big numbers. And it's kind of weird. But the thing on him, and I guess the thing that got him buried in Detroit, his vision. He doesn't always see the second level open up ahead of time. So if the play design gets him there organically, he gets there. But not reading that second level is problematic when you want to get the bigger runs. And because that offensive line is great. And Swift is fine. And for fantasy, he caught a couple passes, so he's fine enough. But those upside games, we might not see them frequently. Kenny Gainwell got the touchdown, 4 touches, 23 yards on there. A.J. Brown, Dallas did a nice job on him. They defended him very well. Good pass defense and 7 for 66 on 9 targets. He scored a touchdown, so you're going to take it. Devontae Smith gets in the end zone, only 3 catches. So all that said, Jalen Hurts, he's playing hurt, and that's making it tough for him, but he's getting it done. And that's a beautiful thing. Throws 2 touchdowns, only 207 yards. Dallas defense came to play, and they're very good on the road game. So Eagles, you win big games like that. That's the team obviously been to the Super Bowl, and they get it. But it's still a big win, big divisional win. It probably probably puts them in a spot where they probably have the division. I mean, Dallas lost the game at Dallas, but there's a couple more games separating them in the loss column. So, the Eagles aren't going to lose many. That's for sure. So again, just wheels up for the Eagles. The defense, they have their problems. Their defense has problems. Dallas could have scored more points than they did. They didn't, and that's on Dallas. But the Eagles, I don't know if those defensive problems are going away, but at least they are equipped to score and keep up with anybody. Charlene, I think I had answered a lot of people's questions about Henderson on the live stream. I got a lot wrong this week. I got that one right. I said what would happen was Brett Rippon was a quarterback. And the only natural occurrence I could see was Green Bay would say, oh, Brett Rippon, if you want to throw downfield, God bless you. We are going to walk as many people up to the line area. We're going to compress the whole short area of the field because we know that's where you're going to throw Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. You want to run the ball. We're going to put bodies up there. And if you want to get over the top, good luck. See if you can make the throw. You probably can't. And that's exactly what happened. He couldn't. And the running game, there were no lanes. There was nowhere to run. And ultimately, Darrell Henderson's been out of the league a couple times. He's not a good running back. And it ends up that when they trail, Royce Freeman gets more work. And that's what ended up happening there. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. You know what I mean? But I try, we try, right? We try to grind the film. We try to figure things out here. And that would have been it. So, but I got a lot wrong. But that one was right. But yesterday, like the CJ Stroud, I blew that one. After 2 bad games, I thought, again, Jamel Dean got knocked out, but that's not the whole reason. CJ Stroud was just freaking awesome. And then Joanna Jacobs had 20 more yards. Oh, man, you would have got $1,200. Man, that was a great game from Jacobs. They were smoking cigars in the locker room after that game. It's a regular season. They just could not get rid of Josh McDaniels fast enough. This is the thing. I don't know Josh McDaniels is a human being. But from that scene in the locker room, it was not about his coaching. It was about personal connection. To me, those Raiders players appeared to not have a personal connection that they enjoyed with their head coach. That was a big problem. And Chad, Jacobs got you in a high stakes, big field top 100 result. Nice job. So, yes. So, as we're saying, overall, the Raiders, it's a weight off their shoulders. And I did think that when I did my pregame, and I go, they will look like a new team in this game. And Devontae didn't get it done, but they didn't have to. They won in blowout fashion, and they were able to be conservative and run the ball. And there are games they're going to have to throw, and Aiden O'Connell was in. But, again, great opportunity. And Joanna, I agree. I hope they keep Pierce. The last time, remember Rich Bisaccia? He was the special teams coach. He took the interim job, and then they said, no, we're going to bring in Josh McDaniels. And that didn't work. But, right now, one game, give Antonio Pierce a shot. What the heck? There's something to be said. I said a personal connection. There's something to be said. If the players like you, they will go to battle for you. And if they don't like you, they're going to come, sulking. That's human nature. We're human beings. Sometimes you look at these players and we take numbers. We're fantasy people, right? Numbers. They're human beings. I mean, somebody threw shade on Mahomes when he had the flu. It's like, oh, what? Dude, he had the flu. If you had the flu, how would you do on your job that day? My guess is not really well, but because Michael Jordan scored 55 with the flu against the Knicks back in the day, everybody thinks, well, yeah, you can play your flu. Michael Jordan, call Mahomes Superman. Michael Jordan was Superman. It broke the mold when he was born. All right. Now, the Cowboy side. Look, Cowboys, and I gave all the credit to the Eagles. So anybody that's on the Eagles side, I gave them full credit for a great, hard-earned victory. Cowboys, they proved to everyone when they say it's a game of inches, it is a game of inches. 100%. Dak Prescott steps out of bounds accidentally when he goes in for a 2-point conversion. When Dallas moved the ball down the field, the next time they were in field goal range. That would have set the game to overtime. On the pass to Schoonmaker, catches the ball, ruled a touchdown. Clearly not a touchdown, but again, 3 more inches on the pass. Touchdown. Oh, Uncle Ted, Jordan hung over, or he lost some gambling bets, or maybe something like that. But Yeah, so these are the little things, right? And Dallas often seems to come up on the wrong side of those little things. So maybe it's a Mike McCarthy karma thing, right? But so we're looking at that and game of inches. These teams play 10 times based on what we saw yesterday. Each wins 5. The Eagles were at home. That helps. Dallas will be at home next time. There's a very good probability Dallas wins that game in Dallas. Now, for the division, it might not matter at that point. But there's a good chance these teams meet again outside of that in the NFL playoffs. All right, let's get some Monday night football. And I'm sad Anthony Cervino didn't make it today. I should check my text one more time to see if he sent me anything. But Monday night football, we got the Jets are home, and they are playing the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, for me, I have no clue how the line is +3 Jets. And it got bet up to 3.5. Now, I don't know what the public sees that I'm not seeing. Not public, or the gamblers. I don't know what they're seeing here. But the Chargers beat the Bears. Great. You beat the Bears. This has not been a good team. And the coaching is horrible. The defense is horrible. The offense has taken a big limitation since Mike Williams has been gone. Now Josh Palmer's out. And that means Quentin Johnston is going to see either Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed. Good night. Now they're bad against a tight end, but it's not like Gerald Everett and Donald Palmer to catch 150 yards worth of passes. And the Jets have a great pass rush. So Keenan Allen, early in the season, we had a 200-yard game. We had some other big games. Well, guess what? Since Mike Williams got hurt, we haven't seen it. Because defenses say, oh, okay, if we stop Keenan Allen, offense is trouble. Now I got Austin Eckler back. That helps. But Eckler on the ground, since he came back from his high ankle, he's not been good on the ground at all. Now, he caught almost 100 yards with a pass against the Bears. Fortunately, he played the Bears, and that's good for him, and maybe he's getting a little better. But right now, it doesn't look like Keenan Allen of last year or prior years when he was just blowing the roof off the NFL. So if if Austin Eckler's not playing at that level, that's a problem. The Jets, they're the real deal on defense. At home, now the Chiefs, now we'll go flashing back when they held the Chiefs down, maybe not a big deal because the Chiefs have not scored a lot of points other than a couple cake matchups. But Philly went in there. And I told people to bet the under on Philly's team total. They went under on that. They did not have success on offense, limited success. And they're a great offense. How are the Chargers going to put up 17 points on the Jets? Because the Jets, number 5 in run D, number 3 in coverage, number 10 in pressure. Now, there are 2 areas of weakness. You can get them in the receiving game with the running back. So, yes, Austin Eckler as a receiver has a little bit of an advantage here. And the tight end, a little bit of an advantage, but I don't know how much they're going to use them. So, if I'm looking at a prop, on that side of the ball, I'm probably going to look at receptions by Austin Eckler. Might look at receiving yards, but the Jets might come in with a game plan for that. Let me see if I can find the prop. So I'll say this. Austin Eckler, I don't see what the over and under on his catches are. I'm going to say he catches 6 passes in this game, maybe more. So see where the line's at. If it's under that, I think you're getting 6 catches here. They're going to have to. And the tight end is just too tough. Parham could score. Everett could get 4 catches. They could do something. But they're going to scuffle. Now, the other side of the ball. And the over and under in this game, it started at 41.5. It's down to 40. We have unders this year. And I don't know that it hits the 40. I don't think it hits the 40. But let's talk about the other side here. And again, Josh Palmer may not be a great receiver, but him missing, again, now you got to go to Darius Davis. They got to go down the depth chart more. Again, so it's problematic. Now, Justin Herbert's an elite quarterback, but it's not like the Jets haven't seen them before. They've seen plenty of them this year on their home field, and they've done very well. So I just don't think this is one where Justin Herbert just says, all right, I got you. And I don't think so. This is a bad matchup for him, and on the road, too. Anyway, other side of the ball. Jets on offense. Look, pass blocking's terrible, but Joey Bosa, he has not looked like the elite player he had been for much of his career. I think either injuries have taken its toll, something. He just does not look like a difference maker. Khalil Mack had the one huge game where he had the 6 or 7 sacks. I think Aiden O'Connell got to and just had his way with the Raiders. But realistically, he's not a dominant, consistent game-to-game pass rusher anymore. So the Jets' pass protection issues might not be a problem. They're number 10 in run blocking, and that's where their advantage is. Now, Chiefs, bottom third in run defense. So they're not tragically bad like they were last year. And the Chargers, we know they can't cover. And they don't get pressure. They're like bottom quarter of the league in pressure. So that's a tough one. And realistically, they're bad across the board. There's no position that they're good against. If they somehow sell out to stop Breece Hall on the ground, they're also bottom 5 in covering running backs as receivers out of the backfield. So if I'm betting a Breece Hall prop, I'm finding 82 yards, I think, is the total yardage prop, rushing, receiving. I think you baked it in because we saw it last week against the Giants. Giants sold up to stop them, but they got him the ball in the air, and he had that 60-yard touchdown. So one way or the other, Breece Hall will get you. But I don't know which way that is because the defense, Brandon Staley still is capable of game planning. They might not be good on defense, but he could try to take something away. The other one I like, Garrett Wilson is plus money to catch 6 passes. And it's like good plus 124, I think it was, on DraftKings. I crushed that one because, look, he gets open everywhere. It's a lot of short stuff, too. He'll get double-digit targets. He is so far the alpha there. And Zach Wilson against this defense, yeah, he's going to get him the ball. So I think that's a very good bet there as well. Otherwise, Tyler Conklin, it's a beautiful matchup for him against the Chargers, but his usage has gone down the last couple games. And that's a problem. We'd like to see him with more usage, but that's so that makes him like if you're playing a single game slate, I think he's worth a whirl because if they decide to throw him the ball, it's a great match. But we've seen him at 50-yard games with Zach Wilson. So that is in the range. But I certainly would not count it because they just have gone away from him too much lately. That said, I think Breece Hall could be the number one. I had him as the number 1 running back this week. I put him my running back 1 on my rankings, PPR. Because, again, he can get it done either way. He could have a massive game, national stage, and the Chargers just do not have answers for him. So, and Garrett Wilson is plus 124 over 5.5 receptions. Earlier in the week, I did a 5-team teaser. The 5th one is here. I got the first 4 legs I hit. I put a decent amount on it, too. I usually don't. But I had Miami plus 8 in the teaser. You get 6-point teaser, right? Well, they lose by 7. I took Cleveland, teased down to -2. Obviously, they didn't need that. New Orleans, I teased them down to -1.5, and I did need that because they would not have covered. And now Tampa Bay plus 8.5, and that teaser worked there. I needed the points on all those. Last one, I got when the Jets were +3, I got them to +9. And so hopefully I cashed that one, but that's where I'm at there. Joanna said she needs Keenan Allen, or your opponent needs Keenan Allen to score 63 points. Yeah, I think you can sleep well tonight. Probably take a nap and be comfortable and not have to sweat that out because the Jets aren't going to give up 63 fantasy points to the entire Los Angeles Chargers team, including Justin Herbert. When you add them all up together, there won't be 63 fantasy points, I don't think. Anyway, Chad, with the Jones ACL tear confirmed, Tyrod done, is there a quarterback out there? You know what? I don't know what quarterback in his right mind would want to go to the Giants with their horrible offensive line. You're going to go in. You're going to take over for 3 weeks. You're going to get beat to a pulp. And then you can go back to doing what you're doing. The trade deadline's over. B, if somebody's already on the street, there were opportunities where teams were like the Jets, desperate for quarterback help. Carson Wentz would be insane if he went there. They called him, I'm sure. He takes too many hits as it is. And he wouldn't, I don't know how much help he'd be with the turnover machine he is. So, honestly, I think for 3 more, because Tyrod should be back. I would imagine he's back after 3 more games. They just got to ride it out. Their season's lost. They have to know that. And from an organizational standpoint, if I'm the GM, you know what? Get me a better draft pick. If we lose the rest of the games, might help our organization. So there's that, right? I think they have to go with DeVito. I just do not see them bringing somebody in. And then it takes, like, everybody's not Josh Dobbs. I said it earlier. You can't just walk in and master a team's offense and be ready to go in 1 week. I mean, guys step in and start. It happens. But, man, that's a stretch. That's a huge turn. Poor Saquon Barkley. Talk about taking a beating. The whole defense fires up to stop him. The line doesn't help him. It's rough. Anyway, everybody, thanks for hanging with me. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. I appreciate every one of you for hanging out with me. Make my day by being with me. All right, everybody, we'll be back on Tuesday. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon.